I think younger women tend to be more impressionable. I think older women, in my experience, you 30, 33, 35, the experiences that you have at that point is just, a little bit too much for me. I really think in some cases you really can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I prefer, my women to be the younger variety.
If a woman wants to respect you and give you the respect to lead and be her partner, why do you need to have that level of power over her if you're not trying to manipulate someone?
See, it's not power, it's impressionable. I've never seen a successful partnership where the other person wouldn't allow themselves to be impressed upon. If I'm a person and I got a vision, I got a plan, I got a whole program, I would think that the person that wants to be with me is willing to learn and willing to adopt some of the ways or even some of the principles that I have.
That's not impressionable. Impressionable is basically getting someone to do what you want them to do because they're easily swayed and easily persuaded to do what you want them to do.
Who said that? Did you make that up?
Well,
when you hire somebody, you look for somebody that's impressionable.
But
why would I listen?
Right, so you can train them. So you can, when you hire somebody, you're about to train them.
Now,
and that's why you want them impressionable.
I said it before, but I'm going to try to maybe give a better explanation or try to give it a clear explanation of why men date or would want to date younger women. Subconsciously, they may not even think it. They might not even think the reasoning, right? Let's take out the fact that, in general, a younger woman would more than likely be a more attractive woman, right? If you compare a woman, let's say in her 20s, her early 20s, to that same woman, if she was just naturally progressed in time to her, let's say, late 30s or mid 30s, more than likely, she's better looking than before in her 20s, her early 20s, than she is in her late 30s. That's just time. But let's say we even take out the looks. What women don't understand, and maybe some men don't subconsciously understand that, and they may not see the reasoning too, that one of the key things that men don't want to deal with is drama. They don't want to deal with, they don't want things to be hard when life already is hard for a man. A man has to deal with a lot of things, stress, making money, career, if anything, having a family, kids, things like that. So what they want to do, what a man would always want to do, is try to lessen as many stress as he can. Over time, life just makes it more, life doesn't generally make things easier, right? It's like you get more jaded, you get bitter, things in life is never easy. Over time, it builds walls, you might have a mistrust of people or just whatever, because time could always affect a person's personality. The environment that you're in, it affects how you view things, how you view people, how you interact with people, right? You could be maybe rude to people sometimes because of past experiences. Let's say a woman who's been with many men, right? Let's say 10, 20 men. Out of those relationships, out of those encounters, let's say half of them were terrible encounters. Those terrible encounters will weigh on a woman, weigh on a person, any man. You know what? Let's say even men. Let's say men and women, same thing. Those encounters weigh on you. They will build walls, right? Walls around your heart, right? They will make you, in your mind, be jaded, be distrustful sometimes, maybe. That's what happens. When you interact with more people as time goes on, when you have many relationships, when you have many bad experiences, right? Those things will affect how you view people, how you view your next experience. So if you had bad relationships in your past, well, those will either literally or subconsciously have you at odds or maybe cautious of your next relationship. So one of the things that men generally and hopefully thinking that if I deal with a younger woman, there's a chance that, okay, if I'm her second boyfriend, she won't be as jaded. Her walls won't be so high, right? She won't have to, I don't have to break so many walls or break a wall at all to get to her heart, to get to the person she is, right? She won't she won't question my decisions because, you know what, she trusts me and she values my opinions more. She values my views more, my thoughts more. She's more caring. She's just less aggressive, less combative, more loving, nurturing, as hopefully. And again, women sometimes don't view the general, they view the specific. Maybe they view that, oh, I'm 35 and I'm still loving and all that stuff. You may think that, but you got to say why your relationships are failing because of some certain reason. If you're 35 and you're not married, you've had many failed relationships, those will make a man question why. Why at your age that you failed so many times? Men in general hopefully wouldn't want to deal with those problems, those red flags that you possibly have. So for a man to find the best path for himself, because at the end of the day, everyone, they got to think the best for themselves. What is best for them? What is best for them is a woman that has less red flags, that's more feminine. The world hasn't beaten on her, right? She hasn't had, dozens of failed relationships, dozens of trauma that a man that the next relationship will have to deal with. Because a lot of times, women bring the trauma they had, okay, onto the next person. They bring the mistrust that they have. They bring, any kind of negative feelings they had onto the next person. And the next man have to deal with it. And no man wants that. It's not just about looks. You also got to think. Men view personality, view attitude very important. They don't want to have that stress of dealing with a combative woman. Dealing with a woman that has so much attitude, has walls that you have to break down. Don't think that it's just because he wants to date a younger woman to control. It's not really to control. Not in general. It's not to control. Especially for, let's say, an average man that would want a younger woman. It's not because of control. It's because of you don't want to have to handle a woman. You don't have to deal with a woman that's combative, that's argumentative, that has been through a lot of heartache, a lot of trauma. Again, having all those walls that you have to break down. Men don't want to deal with that. That also goes along with body counts. Hopefully, in general, the younger you are, men will hope that you don't have a lot of bodies. This day and age, it is, a lot of women have a lot of bodies, but men would hope that you would have less bodies in your earlier years than you do in your later years. Men are playing the odds. By chance, by probability, you'll be less aggressive, more feminine, less attitude, less bodies in your earlier years than you are in your later years. Now, every case is different, but again, someone playing by chance of probability. Hopefully, that. So that's what. Hopefully, I'm explaining it right. I mean, I'm trying to really flesh out that idea. But I guess over time I'll flesh it out even better. But I believe that's a general gist that most men feel, but it's just not easy to articulate. And then women just perceive that, oh, I want to control a younger woman. It's easy to control. It's not easy to control. It's easy to deal with. A woman that has less baggage, has less trauma, is less aggressive, less combative. It is easier to deal with. That's what's easier. Not easy to control, because you don't have to control women. You don't need to. If she loves you, she will follow your leadership, your direction, your views. She will take your views into consideration, or actually follow your views, follow your opinion, follow your thoughts, follow your leadership. So, that's how it is.
Tell me a view I have that you think is genuinely insulting or destructive to society. I'd like to hear it.
You prefer younger women who are 18 or 19 because you can leave an imprint on them?
I understand what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that, like, if I get her, I can brainwash her. I'm not trying to say that. You meet a girl who's 22 and you're her second boyfriend. She's probably like a nicer person, less jaded, less upset, less suspicious.
So you like to be in a position of power?
It's not being in a position of power. It's about, I enjoy to show her amazing things. You're trying to attach things to the situation which aren't true.
So Shirley Ann, Georgia, Eastman, how old are you?
28.
You have any kids?
Yes, I do. I have 8.
How old are you?
28.
You have 8 kids that you gave birth to?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
gave birth to 8 kids.
Yes.
How old are these kids?
My oldest just turned 10. My daughter is 7. Then my next son, he's 6. Then I have a set of twins who will be 5 on the 29th of this month. And my second set of twins, they just turned 3 in November. Then I have a 1-year-old son.
A 1-year-old son?
Yes.
All by the same man?
6 of them are, and the other 2 have another dad.
What would you say to the guy that feels like 8 children might just be too much for him?
Oh my gosh, I know.
And wait, hold on. And not only are they 8, you have 2 twins that are 5, 2 that are 3, and then, well, 1 set of twins that's 5, 1 set of twins that's 3, and then a 1-year-old. So you have technically 5 children under the age of 6, and you do have a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
So they're pretty young.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the guy that's cautious because of that reason?
And this is what I'm talking about, the overabundance of life experience. The time, going through life. 8 kids, 2 baby fathers. And now looking for the next man. It is, let's give her the example, right? If a good man, man that wants commitment, that wants to treat a woman good, great. If he met her early on in her years, before all the babies, before all the 2 baby fathers, if he met her then, before all this, what has life done to her? What the terrible choices she made in life done to her? If he met her before all this, he wouldn't have to, and then what I'm saying, like, if he met her before all this in one version, and he met her after it, after all the trauma, all the kids, the 2 baby fathers, he met her after, these 2 men are different, right? One have to deal with all the bad decisions she made in her life, and the other man is there before she made those bad decisions, where she didn't have those traumas, these terrible life experiences, He's the person who will marry her and be the one who will be with her for the rest of her life without adding on all these terrible life choices. That's what, and then you gotta think, she would have been younger if he met her before all that. So that's a perfect example of why men would subconsciously want to date younger women, not just because of wanting to control women. When a woman have all these life experiences, it's not necessarily a good thing. all these traumas, all these bad choices. What man want to be at the end of that or before all that? You know, that's a different way to look at it that most people are not seeing it, but I believe that's subconsciously why men also want to date younger. Not just because of beauty. It's just that why do you want to deal with all those traumas, all those bad choices, instead of being the person who didn't have to deal with it, who doesn't have to deal with that, right? Plain and simple.